Hi all, today we are going to see another trigger scenario. The scenario is we want to implement a business rule and that prevents updating a due date of a task and show an error message if its status is marked as a completed. I will explain the scenario. There's a task record is there. If its status is completed, I'll try to update this due date. Then in that case it throw an error message, it show an error message. This is the scenario, and this is the task API name, and these two fields are used in this scenario. And status API name is status, and due date field API name is activity date, and pick list values of the status is these are the status pick list values. And while creating a trigger, we have to remember the 3 points: on what object we are trying to create do an operation, and what's the operation, and what's an event. Here I'm doing the things on the object task record. So this is the here object is task, and operation is here I'm updating the task record. For that case I'm going with the update. And event is here I want to show an error message, and this should be this can be achieved with the before. This can be achieved with the before case. Yeah, now I'll show how to create a trigger. Go to the files and click on it and go to new, and click on the Apex Trigger. And this is how we create the trigger. And this is the trigger name, and here we have to select on which object we are trying to create a trigger. After that click on submit. This will be shown, and this is the syntax of the trigger. This is the trigger, and this is the trigger name, and on which object we are trying to create a trigger. This is the object, and this is an event. Here we are going with the before update, right? So for that reason I'm going with the before update. Yeah, whenever the before update case, trigger dot is before will return true, and trigger dot is update will return true. If both are true, then the logic which is inside this if block will be executed. Here we are trying to create a logic in this if block. And while creating a trigger we have to remember another point is like the trigger work for the bulk records. This is we call this is as a bulkification of the trigger. Bulkification of the trigger means the trigger should work for a single record as well as a more than one record. What are the records we are trying to create, insert or update? Those records will be in the trigger dot new context variable, and I'm applying for loop on it. For each of the iteration, t will store one record. Here I'm checking the condition like if we are trying to create a if you are trying to change the due date, this is it will show new date, and we have to compare with the old value. The old value will be stored in the trigger.old and trigger.old map. This is map, and from the map I want to get the one record. For that reason I'll use a get method, and we have to pass here like id of the task, and it will returns the old object old object record. And from that record I'm getting this date value. I'm comparing with the this will return the old date, and this will return the new data. If it is not equal, that means we are trying to change the value. Here we are trying to change the value, and at the same time we have to compare the we have to check the status. If the status is completed, we have to add an we have to add error. For adding an error we use add error method. Here we have to give that error message: you are not able to update the task because status is completed. I'm saving the trigger. Yeah, it's saved. There is no error. Oh, now I'll check if the trigger is working or not. Here already we have one. This is already existed record. Meeting with the client. Here its status is in progress. I'll change it to completed. Meeting with the client, this task status is completed. Now I'll try to change the due date. Yeah, you are not able to update the task because the status is completed. Yeah, this trigger is work for the single record. You can the task is like you can check for its trigger is working for more than one record, so you can check if it's working or not. That's your task. I hope this video will helpful for you. Thank you all.